Hey friends, welcome to another beautiful day at Wild Hearts Homestead. I'm so glad to see the sun today. It rained all day yesterday, non-stop. The ground is super squishy. I'm sinking into it when I'm walking. I love living here in the South. I love everything about it. There's only one thing that I miss about living in the North, and that is not having to be scared of ants. The fire ants in my garden have gotten bad. My kids don't want to go in there anymore. I will only go in my garden if I am wearing my knee-high boots because I've gotten bit so many times. I even have a fire ant mound growing in my greenhouse floor. So I've decided to take some drastic measures. I swore I would never do this to my garden. I would just deal with the ants. I wasn't going to use anything to get rid of them, but I've had it. I feel like with some of this stuff, you have to kind of think about your quality of life. I do want to have a garden that has nothing done to it. I'm going to take care of these anthills far enough in advance that I'm not going to have to worry about this stuff still being around when it's time to start putting plants in the ground. I'm not going to treat my gardens while I have plants actively growing in there, but in the off season when I can get it taken care of and reduce the number of biting ants that we have, I am going to reduce those ant hills right now. I have tried every method for ant control imaginable, everything natural. I've tried even using sticks. Nothing has worked. So we are going full force to get rid of these ants for right now. I have this ant killer, and we are going to sprinkle this on the mound and sprinkle it around the mound. Because we had such a good rain yesterday, the ground is already very saturated. We won't have to water it, but if you apply this onto a ground that is dry, you will need to saturate the ground to get it to work. See how squishy the ground is, and I'm sinking into it. Now, this method of controlling the ants is not going to kill other insects. It's not going to kill pollinators or bees. This is made just to get rid of ants, and this specific type of ants also. Here's a giant one. When you are applying this, you want to put, it says half a cup on the mound, and then also apply it in a 3-foot radius around the mound. Here's another one. You can see there is not much of anything happening in the February garden down here. I haven't made a whole lot of progress with the mulch so far. It's just that pile out there, that pile right there, and that pile right there. That's the only 3 ant piles that I had to treat in this entire garden. So I know that it might upset some people that I used this to get rid of the fire ants, but your garden is your garden. You get to decide what is right for you and your family. If me treating these anthills makes it so that my kids can come out here and be in the garden with me and not have to worry about getting bit up, and they're not screaming and crying every time they come out here, then that is worth it to me. I can just decide not to plant in those 3 areas for the next year. We still have a good month and a half before we even have to think about starting to put anything in here. I can just completely avoid those areas if I want to. So that is where our garden is for February. It still has a lot of work, like always. It's never caught up. But it's going to be a fantastic garden year. I can feel it. I only got that one little pile of mulch over there, and I had to beg and harass the electric company to bring it for me. I'm going to see if I can maybe bribe my dad into going to the landfill with me to get mulch. If you see this, my dad does watch my channel, so give him a shout out because he helps me with so much stuff over here because I cannot do it on my own, and he is wonderful. He does a lot of stuff for me. So I'm gonna see maybe if I can get some more mulch for the garden. My goal is to get this whole thing remulched very thickly this year to help cut down on that Bermuda grass that's growing through. And it could be that our choices change next year. I might go back to using pots of boiling water on the anthills, but all of our choices have consequences. If I use pots of boiling water, then it's gonna kill every living thing in the ground. I really want my kids to be able to enjoy being in the garden with me this year without having to constantly worry about them stepping in an ant pile and getting bitten by hundreds of ants in a flash. It can be really bad if your kids have ever gotten into a fire ant hill. They attack really fast and those bites hurt so bad and they can leave scars. So I think it is important to teach our kids to be mindful of where they're stepping and how they're doing things in the garden, but also if they're tiny and they're little and they're toddlers, they're not going to be super mindful of that. Sometimes it does come to a point where you have to decide what is the best decision for your family and for your lifestyle and for your quality of life when it comes to what you're working on doing in your garden. So, but you can be mindful of when you're applying this stuff too, so that you're not affecting your plants in the ground and you are using the least amount possible. So let me know if you've had ants problems in your yard with fire ants biting you. I could tell you some crazy stories. I've had them even come up on my back porch when it's raining and attack my son on the back porch, and that's the day that I was like, nope, I am done with fire ants. We are gonna do whatever we need to do to get rid of these. So it helps control them, and this is my first time using this in the garden. I swore I would never, ever, ever use this in my garden. So hopefully it will go well and it will work, and I will let you know. Let me know if you've had any problems with ants in your garden and how you solved that, and I will see you next time.